Okay. So right off the bat, we've been commissioned to build the 12th Doctor and Susan Foreman. It looks like this is for bracket 3, which is perfectly fine. Pet card Glorious End. I'm just gonna add that real fast. With a theme for Cascade, but they also say leaning towards this, but open to suggestions. So this does look like I have a bit of free reign here. Um, which is nice. That means I can kind of do whatever. Notably, Susan Foreman is a 2-drop that ramps in the command zone, so we could do the forbidden tech of Susan Foreman on turn 2 and then some sort of explosive vegetations effect on turn 3 to untap with 7 mana on turn 4. Could be very strong, could be really good. However, I kind of think it's a little bland and overdone. Not to mention we don't need this 7 mana on turn 4. We don't need to be that fast because the 12th Doctor is only 5 mana and it'll also just draw a lot of attention. So I'm kind of fine with not doing that. Let's see what else we can do. We'll look into the Cascade theme. So if I do Cascade max $1.50, and then you guys actually taught me about typing in sort EDHREC into Moxfield. Reign of Riches, it's a 5-drop, which conflicts with our commander, but it's kinda sick because it lets us cast anything with Cascade. Um, which can be pretty good. I'm gonna add it to considering. Maelstrom Wander in 8-drop with Cascade, and gives all your stuff haste, 7/5. You know what it does, it's amazing, it's good. Emoti can be very strong if you build around it. Spells you control with mana value 6 or greater of Cascade. This pairs really well with stuff like Maelstrom Wander. Um, Once again, it does conflict with our commander, but it also just has Cascade as well. I'm gonna add it to considering. I think this card's very strong. Um, Wild Seer. Enchantment spells you cast from your hand have Cascade. I don't think I like this. We're not really casting that many enchantments. At least I don't think so far. It's also a 5-drop that conflicts with our commander. Considering that this is basically just another like amplifier effect, I think I'm good for now. Annoyed Altasaur, 7-drop with Cascade, sure. Um, Maelstrom Colossus, 8-drop with Cascade, yeah. I'm a fan of these. Deal X damage to each creature and planeswalker your opponent's control, where X is the number of spells you've cast this turn. This is one-sided board wipe with Cascade. I love removal. It's so good. I'll throw this in considering as well. I think I might just main deck this. I'll remove that from considering later. And then I think I might just circle back on the rest of everything as far as Cascade goes. I do like Ingenuity Engine. It's 7-drop, it brings itself back to your hand, so in the really grindy games, as long as you have an artifact to sack, which could even be a token, this is kinda sick. So I do like that. Um, this is also good for a similar reason. Um, I'll throw this in considering. I do like it a little bit less just because you have to pay 3 mana rather than 1 in sacking an artifact. It's a lot more likely that this will happen across the span of 2 turns, whereas this happens all in 1 turn. But we'll see. We'll circle back to this whole thing. Um, Notably, so the 12th Doctor, the first spell you cast from anywhere other than your hand each turn has Demonstrate. Um, so basically, you get to choose an opponent. They can copy your spell. or like you copy your spell and then your opponent gets to copy it. Theirs ends up resolving first, then your two. And when you copy a spell, you put a 1/1 counter on them. Cool. Um, this is very political. I like this significantly because you can either just choose the player that gets the least benefit from the spell that you are demonstrating, or you can make a deal with someone else and get political favor from that. So you can give them something like a Maelstrom Wander, but they can't attack you for this turn and next turn, or something like that. Like, it just gives you so much value, um, politically. Um, I do want to go about flushing out the mana base real quick. So if I do forest, uh, island, and mountain. We're in Teamer, which is interesting. I'm gonna switch these printings just so they don't affect our cost, because this will be another $25 budget deck. If I can. Which I'm pretty certain I can. I'll go ahead and just add 10 for now as a placeholder. I'm thinking of doing about 42 lands maybe. This does seem to be a very mana intensive deck, and hitting your land drops is just kind of good, generally speaking. I try not to go below 40 in most of my decks, and I think this one probably wants a little bit more than 40, so probably around like 42-ish is what I'm thinking. Um, I'll go ahead and look for filter lands. I like these. Signet lands are great. Yeah, I'm just gonna add all of these. Um, these are good. And then let me do I'll do O draw a type land and then sort EDH rec. All right, Bonders Enclave, amazing. Our commander's 4 power, that works. Um, I this isn't a Gaia Reach Sanitarium deck. We're not really worried about things like Thoracle combos. We don't need to stop that. We're also not playing with the graveyard that much, so not not something I'm looking for. Waterlogged Grove is interesting. If we need more fixing, I might circle back to these cards because you can sack them for draw later on, but I feel like that's more powerful in CDH than in just casual, because sacking lands is not that good usually. Also, that paying a life kind of racks up over a longer span of time, which casual tends to last. Um, Arch of Araska is amazing, yes. Um, let's see. Mariposa Military Base, goated card, amazing. I love it so much. Um, let's see. There's uh, where are the clue lands? Maybe I need to do. What if I do function? Function draw. Okay, that seems to have widened the search a bit. Oh yeah, Bountiful Landscape. I like it because it comes in, taps for a colorless immediately, or it can be a tap land. Or, I mean, you can just cycle it if you absolutely need to. Um, good in the early game, mid game, and late game. So I'm all for that. Um, okay. Monarchy, not that interested. I feel like it's going to be pretty easy for other decks to take it from us and keep it from us. So probably not something I'm looking for here. Um, let's go with these clue lands. I I love these so much. They're really good. They can help you color fix, and then they also just act as a mana dump. Out of things to do, now you can grind. Cool. I'm gonna remove a couple of these basics. Remove, remove, remove. And then I'll go ahead and start tagging. Lands. And then I'm just gonna Shift T all of these. Cool. Yeah, these are all lands. And then if I do function draw, I can add card advantage. Cool. Bountiful landscape. Actually, that's not one I want to throw in there. All right. Let's remove that. That's fine. Okay. Mariposa, library, kitchen, enclave. Yeah, that's a good start. Okay. Um, cool. So we have our lands flushed out for the most part. We may revisit it more, add some more non-basics. I can actually look real fast and see if there's anything that I like. EDH, budget veggies, budget non-basics. And then I can do ID teamer. Hide unhighlighted. Alright. Keswick Wolf Run is nice. Yeah. Yeah. Rogue's Passage. So there are things that we can do if we have more mana. Let's see how this turns out. So I guess we can look at some closers real fast, see if there's anything that catches my eye. Giant Adaphage is funny. Oh, because we can also, if we cast it from exile, we can demonstrate it, and then that's so funny. Just a crap ton of giant Adaphages being thrown around. I do like that, but maybe not right now. Actually, let's look into some other ways that we can incorporate synergy. First spell you cast from anywhere other than your hand each turn is demonstrate. So notably, this works with impulse draw. This works with things like escape. Since you're casting from your grave. Flashback, things like that. Really good. Yeah, let's see what we can do here. If I look up Reckless Impulse and open Scryfall Tagger, yeah, it gives castable from non-hand. Let's do this. Sort EDH rec USD less than 1.5 ID teamer. Okay. That's kind of funny, actually. Hideaway's a really good idea for this kind of thing. Yeah, if you control power 10 or greater. Let's do it. Oh yeah, I forget. Someone said that I can just drag it. Let's see if that works. I'm kind of dumb. Why isn't this working? Whatever. I'm not that great with that. Okay, cool. We could do expressive iteration. I kind of want things that let us do it until the end of your next turn, like this. Because then we can untap and play it. Although it is kind of telegraphed. I don't like the idea of things being telegraphed too much. Because then it lets our opponents have a whole turn cycle to be able to interact and kill our stuff. Opens us up to board wipes, notably. Removal engines. I mean, even just untapping and then casting single target removal that they've held on to. Lelia is really good though. Lelia, Lelia is an amazing card. Just in general, I think I'll add that. Uh, Lelia, cool. Past in Flames, very good. Was dealt 7 or more damage. Yeah, I'll do Spine Rock'n'Roll. Cool. Alright. Reign of Riches is... Yeah, I can go ahead and add some of these Cascade cards. I think that's fine. Reign of Riches, yeah. We'll... I think I'm just gonna throw them all in for now, and then we'll... Is there a way to quickly do this? I'm so bad with the shortcuts and navigating and all that. I'll tag this with Cascade. Yeah, there we go. That. Where'd you go? Emoti. That. And then Lelia is a little bit different. Lelia is Impulse. We'll Glory Ascend. What's the vision with this? Oh, because you demonstrate it. That is kind of funny. But don't... So... Okay, trying to think here. So, you cast Glory Ascend to end the turn. Oh, okay, I understand, because theirs is going to resolve first, which is going to exile yours from the stack. So you don't actually have to worry about the you lose the game clause, but they do because it's demonstrated. That's actually really funny tech. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I love that so much. Okay. That's sick. So we have a you lose the game button. Um, big fan of that. Let's actually see if there's anything more like this. I'm not sure. Alternate loss condition. Um, USD 1.5 format commander ID teamer. Okay. Because if we do this early enough, giving them an extra turn is kind of fine. Although we would still have ours, and then we would have to deal with losing the game. Okay, maybe not. Maybe Glorious End is like the only effect of this. I'm okay with that. This, we could play into that though. We could do like a, what's his name? Rift Sweeper. We could do Rift Sweeper because Glorious End exiles itself. But I'm I'm not sure that's good long term. Because if we do that, then everyone's going to know that that is our plan when we pull out this deck, and then they're just not going to let our commander resolve, or at least stick on the field, because then all of a sudden we have a you lose the game button. We won't be able to demonstrate. So yeah, I think maybe we don't do the Rift Sweeper thing. Glorious End is still a you lose the game button. I don't actually know if it's worth. Probably, right? Let's see what kind of tutors we can run on a budget here. Da-da. Minus O basic. Alright, most of these are looking for lands. I mean, I could just remove minus land. Okay, let's see what we got. Artifacts, creatures. Do we have a creature that can tutor for it? We have Drift of Phantasms. And then we can transmute. That's really mana intensive though. I don't think that's good. Or good enough. I don't think it's good enough. Um very telegraphed. Ooh, Tomb of Horrors Adventure. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it. If you completed a dungeon, copy that spell twice instead. You may choose new targets for the copy. This includes permanents. This isn't just instants and sorceries, etc. I kind of like that. It's also a 6-drop, so we can play it after a commander. Although we do kind of want to just get value after we cast our commander. We'll go ahead and add it for now, tentatively, and then we'll look later. I might as well just do tutor instant. This is gonna take a while. Oh, yeah, that's right. Invasion of Arcavios. We could do Invasion of Arcavios with Devastation Tide. The only issue with that is, I mean, this just, like, lets us cast it from hand, which doesn't really trigger the commander. Eh, not that big of a fan. We can keep looking at the castable from non-hand. So, Atali's cool, but kind of telegraphed, and not that good, in my opinion. I feel like Atali has fallen off a lot. Especially with everyone running like archetypal strategies to where like you steal their cards, but so what? They don't do anything for you because you've got Merfolk tribal and like all of these different tribal decks that are just weird and don't help you. Um Malcolm, wait, draw card then discard if I guess that does technically cast from graveyard, which is pretty cool. We'll see. Carnosaur. Discover 5. Oh, Discover. That's right. Uh, is this a function? It's not. Discover, and then that. Okay, let's see what we got. Carnosaur. Yeah, love it. Especially since it curves out after the commander. Hit the mother load. Sure. Sick. Doo-doo-doo. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 5 or greater, discover X where X is that spell's mana value. This is sick, because it's a 4-drop too, so we can play it uh, after we play Susan Foreman. These lands let us discover. I don't know how I feel about that. Because they enter tapped, but it's the same thing as like Mosswarp Bridge and stuff like that, right? Okay, it's not. It is not the same as Mosswarp Bridge because it sacrifices and you have to pay 5 mana, and it is just a random 4 or less. And it's sorcery speed. Is Mosswarp Bridge sorcery speed? I forget. Let's check this out. Mosswarp Bridge. It is not sorcery speed, it's instant speed. That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, so okay. The Discover card, the Discover lands, I'm good with not running. The owner of target artifact or creature with mana value 1 or greater shuffles it. Then that player discovers X, where X is the mana value. interesting. I don't think I want that though. It could be used offensively like on our stuff, but I I don't think I'm that big of a fan of that. Um I feel like Discover 3 and stuff like that just isn't enough. Um okay. Oh, that's actually really funny. Discover X where X is that spell's mana value. And then oh, that's really good because 12th Doctor doesn't stipulate it be on your turn. It's just the first spell you cast from anywhere other than your hand each turn has demonstrate. So that's kind of sick. Okay, big fan of that. I'm gonna consider Discover and Cascade the same thing because functionally they basically are. Um, this, that, um, I maybe I tag that as WinCon. I think I might do that. Sure. Just for the like boombastic cards that are gonna be really impactful for us. Maybe I should start getting removal and stuff like that tagged as well. Um, yeah, let's do that. Removal slash interaction. And then, what else do we have? Was that it? No, this one. Okay. Tomb of Horrors Adventure. Still unsure about it. I'll throw these in. Like these are just sick. Um, I don't know how to tag the. Maybe I just tag it as like gives castable from non-hand, but that feels kind of whack to do. Sunbird's Invocation. That that's actually kind of sick. It's telegraphed, but it's an enchantment, so it'll probably stick around. Um, we do have to worry a little bit about like them seeing it and then popping either the enchantment or the commander. But realistically, I feel like if we keep Sunbird's Invocation around, we don't even need the commander. Uh, this card just carries. Um, yeah, let's do that. This okay. Sunbird's Invocation. I I don't know how to tag these yet. I might just do like amplifier or something like that because this it doesn't do anything on its own, right? Kind of like doubling season. But it will help later on with just snowballing. Like we're kind of set up to just snowball on turn 6. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You can play lands and cast spells. Once during each of your turn, you may cast a spell from your hand or top without paying its mana cost. Um, definitely don't want to be demonstrating that. That's kinda strong. So that would just be for. Oh wait, no, this wouldn't be demonstrated. The other things that we're casting gets demonstrated. That's right. So the stuff off the top. Um, it's really good card advantage. 8 mana is quite a bit, but I mean, we automatically have one ramp here, so that's like turn 7. We're realistically probably gonna last that long, because I'm gonna cram a bunch of removal in this deck. Cascading into removal is really good. Um, I'll throw it in for now. One with the multiverse. Okay. Inti. Inti's cool. Whenever you discard one or more cards, exile the top. You may play that card until your next end step. This doesn't require mana to actually trigger. Yeah. Sure. Let's try an Inti for now. Oh, I don't. What's Sinistral? Maybe I don't need that. Cool. Ooh, Inti's $1? Maybe not. I feel like it might not be $1's worth of value here. Okay. Escape to the Wilds is cool. Especially if we cascade into it, because it's end of your next turn. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That can be good. I'm a little bit hesitant for things like Reckless Impulse because it feels very non-deterministic. Like we don't know what we're gonna get, and that's usually not that good if it's like only 2 cards. Um, Something like Dire Fleet Daredevil, really good though. I like that it can hit other people's removal and stuff like that. Oh yeah, flashback and stuff like that. Torrential Gear Hulk lets us cast something from our graveyard without paying its mana cost. Only an instant though. If that spell would be put into grave exile, of course. Has flash. I think I'm cool with this. Yeah. Uh, Demonstrates optional, right? You may copy it. Yes. Okay. So you don't have to. Which means that if people aren't accepting your deals, then you don't have to do that. You may cast a spell of that type from among them without paying its mana cost. That's kind of sick. I'm a bit. I keep misspelling things. I'm a bit afraid that this deck is a little too big and like mid-rangey, that people are just going to see it and then snipe our stuff early on to keep us from popping off. I feel like that would be the natural counterplay, right? Just kill our commander. Um, People need to do that more, honestly. Just kill the commander because most decks are very built around the commander. Um, Mind's Desire. Yeah, I'm unsure about a lot of these. Because they're so non-deterministic. Like what we would roll into. Okay. Let's see. I might start looking at like flashback stuff. Actually, let me just look at removal. I'm definitely wanting removal, right? ID Teamer. Cool. So we could get something like a Steel Hellkite. That could be sick. Yeah. Steel Hellkite, Inferno Titan. These things are really good, especially if you give them haste with something like the Maelstrom Wanderer. Um, Small synergy, but synergy nonetheless. Things that can happen and are kind of worth thinking about. Um, Blade Griff Prototype. Honestly, I'm gonna just throw this in here because this deck is so political anyways that I like the idea of having this to further this. What if we lean more into the politics? I think I kind of like that idea. Rather than just trying to like be the big bad evil threat, I kind of want to lean more into the politics here because so my thinking is, right, if we are the player that has control over the game, no one is going to want to listen to us because it is advantageous for them to make sure we don't win the game. And if we are trying to make a deal, it is because it will benefit us, and then they will be skeptical of that deal because it is going to further our it's going to shore up our weaknesses and further our game state. So if we're ahead, they won't want to make deals with us. If they don't want to make deals with us, that kind of puts a damper on the whole political aspect of the commander, um, which I definitely want to use to my advantage here. Um, like I think this commander is really sick if we can keep it around, but if we're doing really big boombastic plays, then we're not gonna get to keep it around. Um, so I'm thinking about maybe doing more like removal and then casting that removal and letting that get copied with the demonstrate in exchange for them hitting something not ours. Um, which I think a lot of players would take. I mean, you only have to get 1 out of 3 to accept the deal. And a lot of times you can do that. Um, yeah, I think that's good. Um, what do we do here? We could do River's Rebuke, which could be kind of funny because we just point it at someone and tell them don't attack us, and then we won't do it to them, and that would be really funny. Um, because we can get political favor out of it and still bounce someone's entire board. And if we demonstrate into this, this is really, uh, really funny. Um, odd, odds are, what would happen if we demonstrate it is we make a deal with one player, um, and we'd probably have to like double up on who we target with our second one just to be able to make the deal. We're like, hey, uh, I'll let you keep your board state if you don't target me with yours, and then I'll just target both of these at X other person, and then they're like, sure. Um, so this can be pretty good. Um, let's see. Yeah, I like the idea of targeting stuff. Because then there's ooh, Mystic Confluence. Yeah, Mystic Confluence is kind of sick. Good to cascade into. I might I might switch off of the cascade theme a little bit. Might keep some of the stuff just because it's nice and it's cool. Um but I do like the idea of targeted replayability with things like Dire Fleet, Daredevil, Diluvian, Primordial, that kind of thing. Um Wrong turn is kind of funny to demonstrate. Because we can just like massively switch stuff around. I think this is really funny because then we can also tell our opponent that we demonstrate it to, give us this, and then I'll give you um these people's commanders. Yeah, I like that. Let's do wrong turn. This is this is very funny. Um, Snap is kind of funny to give other people mana. Um, Tolarian Contempt. That's just a good card. Like, are we looking for just good cards? Maybe? I'm having a little bit of an identity crisis with this deck. Um, it's definitely removal interaction. Because how do I want to be triggering the demonstrate? There's also the when you copy a spell, put a 1/1 counter on the 12th Doctor. We theoretically could do an infinite with like forks and stuff like that. Um, but once again, I don't think that's good long term because it might help us early on, but the more that our playgroup knows what we're doing, the less likely we are to pull it off, and the more likely they are to uh, basically send removal our way, which is not advantageous for us. Um, because then we also have to still remove the threat that that removal would have targeted. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So this is I'll just do gives castable from non-hand. Because I don't really know what else to call all of these random effects. Lands. Sure. Sunbirds, yes. This is just a copy. Maybe isn't good. No, actually it probably is. Yeah, I think this is probably still good because we still get to copy stuff. Um, the issue is our CMC. Our CMC is really high in this deck, so maybe it's not good. I'll circle back to this one. Diluvian Primordial. Yeah, it gives castable from non-hand. Dire Fleet. Torrential. Yeah. All of these. I'm gonna just throw Intian considering, because it's over $1. I don't see myself wanting to justify that. River's Rebuke, that can go in removal. One with the multiverse. I'll put this one in card advantage as well, because it lets us cast off the top, which saves cards in hands. So it saves cards in hand. Okay. I see. I want more removal. So Sarkon's Unsealing is kind of sick. How many creatures actually fit that bill? Oh, whoops. What is it? POW over greater than equal to 4, right? I'd unmatched. Oh, our commander even triggers that. And this is a 4-drop, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. Let's do that. Sarkon's Unsealing. Cool. That's a good removal engine. Da -da. Cordivier. I I don't know that we want the Monarch once again. Um, it's still decent removal, but I don't know about that. I do think counterspells are kind of mid um, to like cascade into. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we can do. I'm heavily considering this. I think I'll throw it in there for now, just because it's such a good card, and I also kind of want more people to play with it and see its value. It's very good. Okay. We probably need a couple. I would say two more board wipes and then more. Let's see, we have one, two, three removal engines. This one's debatably a removal engine. I think I'll consider it an engine. Um, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll probably add two more board wipes, maybe one more removal engine, and then a good amount more instant speed removal. Um, and then let's do this. Cool. Beast Within, probably fine. Yeah. I've been kind of lower on like the Beast Within stuff lately. It might just be a personal preference thing where I don't end up like needing the flexibility more than the mana, but I think it's also just the colors that I'm in usually whenever I'm deck building, because my other colors shore up the need for hitting every permanent type. Usually I don't need to hit lands as well, so that's probably just a meta dependent, like a meta call. Hmm. Reality Shift. Manifest isn't casting. It's just turning face up. So that's not that great. Um, Warstorm Surge could be something. I'll throw it in considering for now. Chain Reaction is a good board wipe. Prison in the Moon is hard to remove depending on the deck. Like if you hit like a Krenko mob boss with Imprisoned in the Moon, they're kind of cooked. Um, I think I might add Oblivion Stone as my board wipe because that clears away all non-land permanents. So it basically hits Enchantress, it hits artifacts, it hits everything. And you can also protect your own stuff. Um so yeah, let me switch over to, I'll just open a new tab. Very chaotic. Oblivion Stone. Sure. We'll do this. Removal. Cool. And we can circle back here. I do want some graveyard hate as well, I think. Maybe just one or two cards. Azuri's Predation. Yes. Yeah, I'm a fan of this. Um, let's see. I'm probably missing a lot of like good cards that I'm just skimming past and not fully considering. Electrodominance is cool because it lets you cast non-instant speed spells at instant speed. It does break timing restriction. Uh, which is it's good. That's good because then you can do things on other people's turns, as well as just removing something. Nev's disc can be good. Little slow in Telegraph, though. And especially if they remove it. Not as good as something like Ghost Stone. Evacuation. I don't think I want that. I mean, I have O-Stone and Azuri's Predation now, so I guess I have my 2 board wipe quota that I was looking for. I'm just kind of looking for instant speed stuff, I guess. I can circle back to that then, and then start working on card advantage. I know I keep circling back to a lot of things, but my thinking on that is I want to get the things that I'm confident with done first, because then when I have a better idea of the identity of the deck, I can feel better about certain includes and not feel so unsure about it. Budget card advantage. Okay. ID Tamer. Fecundity? No. I don't think so. That would be really funny to demonstrate, though. Creature dies, that player draws 3 cards. Not quite, though. I don't think so. Thopter Spy Network. Something like this is actually pretty sick. Like the Biden of Thassa type effects can be really cool. Because you get 2 of them and your one opponent gets 1. Yeah, that can be pretty good. Unironically. Yeah, Sunbirds. Ooh, Visions of Phyrexia. This is a sick card. Which also synergizes with our game plan. And is a 4-drop, so we can play it in that gap turn when we have 4 mana and not much to do with it. Yeah, I like the idea of 4-drops here. Hilda's Crown of Winter, really good card. Not sure what turn we would actually use it though. Because I kind of want to slot in card advantage on turn 3 whenever we have 4 mana. Let me update this to cheapest. Dang, Ghostly Pilfer's still $1.50. We have Direfleet Daredevil. Oh, we have Susan Foreman. Okay. Because I was thinking about what if we did Karuga as a companion? No, that doesn't work. Karuga in the deck though? Maybe not a horrible idea. Although our creature density isn't that high. It's kind of low. Ooh, Shamanic Revelation getting copied though? We could target someone with not that many creatures. Could be pretty good. I don't know though. All of this is very hard to factor in because we also have our opponent that would get a copy of the spell. Treasure Cruise for sure, though, right? I think so. This is just slam dunk, especially if we can give it Cascade or something like that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Seasons passed, good. But $2? Hmm, don't know if it's worth. Ooh, Dryad's Revival though. Has flashback. I'll note that. I'll note that for now. Factor Fiction is really fun. Honestly, I'm gonna add this for vibes. Um, I I know this deck is for someone else, but this is how I would build the deck. Um, for myself. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. And the reason I'm hesitant on it, by the way, is in case we like cascade into it or something, and we would demonstrate it, which we don't have to, right? We don't have to demonstrate it, but genuinely, I think this would make for a very memorable game if you do demonstrate it. We can also do the same thing with Fortune's Favor. Um, I think this is just it's really fun, and honestly, I want to build the decks to be good, but I also want to build them to be really fun. Because if I build a deck which is just like generic power slop, right? Of course it'll be good and it'll work, but uh, they wouldn't be happy with it, right? They wouldn't want to actually play it, and I feel like that's not that fun, right? I kind of want my toys to stay shiny and uh, keep having an alert to be picked back up. Which is kind of also why I'm not going with the 4 mana ramp. Even though the CMC is really high, um, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think just doing the Susan Foreman into explosive vegetations thing, a lot of people are just going to immediately discount it to, oh, this is that again. Um, uh, and I don't want that. I want this to be fun. Dig through time is interesting. I love the minigame cards, like Factor Fiction, Fortune's Favor, that thing. And I love that we can play the 4 mana ones pretty well. Teferi's Ageless Insight is kind of funny to copy. Even if we don't copy it though, how much draw, like actual draw, do we have? Oh, draw. We have 5. That's what if I do full Oracle? Draw. 9. That's still probably too low to justify Teferi's, especially at $3. Kind of high. Rush of Knowledge is insane in this deck now. As well as Interpret the Signs. This just draws so many cards, and we can pretty safely copy it. Yeah, I'm cool with this. Interpret the Signs, and then Rush of Knowledge. Cool. Let's see what else we got. Hunter's Insight could be nice with the fact that our commander gets kinda buff. Um, let's see. We have some tutors. I don't really want to build this to be like just another like I don't want to build this to be another package deck like Gormoldrak was. That was a fun deck to build. And I'm thinking about just doing different, right? I don't want to just do the same thing every time. That's not entertaining. And ultimately, we play Magic and deck build to be entertained. That's why you're watching this video now. Is probably to learn a little bit, but also to be entertained with a hobby that you are passionate about. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think if I just did the same thing every time, then that would not be entertaining. So let's not. Let's have some fun. Okay. So where are we at? We should probably tag some of these cards. Um I'll tag this gives castable from non-hand. I'll also tag it mana because it is that. Fortune's Favor is card advantage for sure. Beast Within's removal. Interpret is card advantage. That's card advantage, removal. We only have 11 removal. I want to see this up a bit more. We have 33 sources, sorry, 23 sources of casting from non-hand to trigger the 12th Doctor. I think that's plenty for now. That's basically a quarter of our deck. And I'm okay with that, because like half of these let you do it multiple times. Um, yeah. Tomb of Horrors Adventure. This is just good. Yeah. Okay. So card advantage at 12. We could probably do a little bit more. Uh oh yeah, the lands are up to 44 now because of the Mossthorpe Bridge and the other hideaway land, Spinerock Knoll. I think I'm okay with that. I Now that I'm seeing how high the mana value is, I definitely want to be running more lands than 42. That's that's fine with me. What's in considering right now? Oh yeah, Inti and Warstorm Surge. Probably fine to keep the Warstorm Surge in there. We're at 83 cards, $18. I think I'm gonna move this to considering for now, just because I don't think it's that likely we're actually gonna be double spelling, especially with how high our mana value is. So that's fine to uh, get thrown away for now. I'm fine cascading into any of these. Um, let's look at more instants for now. I don't want to do counter spells. I think removal spells are better than counter spells in this deck. And almost just kind of in general, but that's probably a thought that needs to be ironed out a little bit more before I fully commit to that idea. Um, you come to a river isn't bad. We can give things unblockable. We could give our commander unblockable. What if we Voltroned our commander a bit? Because we could do like choose your weapon here, and you come to a river. Our commander does naturally grow, but I don't think this is the play. Uh, I don't think it's the play because I don't want our commander to die. Kind of want him to just stick around and stay. Um, you don't want your value pieces to also be your threat, because then if they answer the threat, they also answered your value piece. And that's not good. Here's what we'll do. We'll do function removal ID teamer sort EDHREC USD less than 1.5 type instant. What? Function removal ID teamer sort EDHREC USD. What do you mean? I'm gonna try that again. Function removal. Yep, stuff pops up. Type instant. Cool. USD 1.5. ID teamer sort EDHREC. Okay, cool. Maybe I misspelled something the first time. I don't know why that happened. Cool. Let's see what we got. We could go with reality shift, nature sculpt, resculpt, that kind of thing. Nature sculpt isn't a card. Nature's claim, that's a card. Collective resistance here is interesting because you can escalate it. Which, but you can't escalate it if it's been cascaded into. That is true. Still not bad. Yeah, I kind of like this because it's protection and it's also removal, depending on what you need. Return to nature. There's that little bit of graveyard hate, just in case. Um, it's not much, but it's a card in the deck. Um, and I'm not entirely sure about committing an entire slot to it because if we cascade into it, it can be kind of underwhelming. Yeah, reality shift. That's exile as well. I think I'm cool with that. Yeah, let's also exile. Let's do it. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is actually especially bad with our cascade plan, because if we cascade into it, x equals 0. That's good to know. Sublime Epiphany, that has counterspell on it, also bounces something and makes a copy and replaces itself. Like, it kind of just does a little bit of everything. Um, I'm not upset at that. Yeah, let's do it. And the notable thing about this, whenever you copy a card that has modes like this, choose one or more, you cannot choose different modes. You can usually choose different targets because the card will tell you you can. So, for instance, the return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, you can choose something different with that. But if you did not select counter target spell, if you demonstrate this, your opponent cannot then counter your Sublime Epiphany. So that's definitely worth keeping in mind if you try and copy something like this, is that uh, you can't choose different modes. Especially since we're demonstrating and giving to our opponents, that may be something that comes up to where they'll want to rule check you on that, but that is how that works. Choose one. If it was kicked, choose any number instead. I don't like that. Okay. Target creature It's +3/+3, or your stuff gains hexproof, or bounce something. That's just all around pretty flexible, pretty good. I do like the combat trick option there. I think combat tricks are very underrated. And the fact that you kind of get to choose between any of these three modes, which are all pretty good, I think makes the card worth it, in my opinion. Okay. I don't want Aether Spouts here. Normally, very good card, and I love it. But the issue is the timing. Because we're cascading, we may cascade into that, and then it literally does nothing. So then the card's bad. And I kind of want to minimize that, because if we're going for cascade plays, then realistically we're already going to be drawing attention. And I don't want to draw attention and then just whiff, right? That feels really bad and is going to kind of lead to us just losing the game. So I kind of like this. Yeah, we'll do that, and then I guess I'll throw this in WinCon maybe? I don't know. I'll just throw it in removal interaction. 17 pieces, I'm okay with that for now. What else does the deck want? I can look into Grave Hate. Let's see if there's anything notable we want. Blessed Respite is Fog plus Grave Hate. Kind of good, but not that good to cascade into. Yeah, I know it's. I don't think we need more, realistically. Honestly, I think a lot of times Graveyard Hate doesn't matter that much, which is why a lot of people don't run it. I do think it's good to have some incidental Graveyard Hate every now and then, but realistically, you want bigger Graveyard Hate that's going to stop, like, Living End plays and stuff like that. There's also a chance that they're just gonna counter your Graveyard Hate if they're in, like, Demir. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it all. Realistically, I think I'd rather just go with the big unga bunga brain and just say, okay, let me just do my thing bigger and better than their thing. Not to mention we've got plenty of removal, so sure they can reanimate whatever and then we'll just deal with it. I think I'd rather stick to that than trying to dedicate slots to Graveyard Hate because it feels kind of mid. Um, what's in here? Name's a little misleading. I should probably change it because it's not like super staples or anything, but it's just like um cool cards that I didn't really know how to name, and they can just be generically good. Um, Galta's kind of cool if we can cast it from non-hand and give it hmm maybe Galta's not that sick actually. Yeah, Galta's a little mid. I mean, Reign of Riches is cool with it, but okay, that's fine. I mean, Galta is still just a, like, on average, or like usually like just a 2 mana 12/12 trample, which is good. Primeval Protector, 1 mana 10/10 enters, put a 1/1 counter on each thing you have. Um, I guess these do feed our interpret the signs and stuff like that. Not bad to have. Just have generically big dudes. Um, Good blockers, good attackers. They can apply pressure. Um, Emoti can give them Cascade. Um, Discover 10. Yeah, Discover 10 doesn't even hit either of those. Monstrous Vortex is great with it. Yeah, I think I will add them because I mean these are just good cards anyways, right? Um just having these as uh big blockers, um like really efficient bodies. It's not bad. Um Throes of Chaos, Cascade Retrace. Ooh. Ooh. Well, so if we retrace it, we discard a land, we cast Throes of Chaos. We'll get Cascade, but we'll also end up demonstrating with the Throes of Chaos. I don't think that's good actually. Um, because Throes of Chaos doesn't do anything itself. So sure we give it away, it doesn't do anything, but then we copy it, still doesn't do anything. And it wastes our trigger. That's kind of mid. Um, okay. Clone Legion, for each creature target player controls, create a token that's a copy of it. This lets us steal stuff. These can be good to, like, Blatant Thievery can be really good to, um, just play in general. Non-artifact spells you cast have improvise. How many artifacts do we have? We have 6. Um, Looks like a lot of them are actually creatures. I don't think it's enough. I do think Inspiring Statuary is incredibly slept on. This card's insane, but I don't think I'm looking for it in this deck. I'd probably want to be closer to like maybe 10 artifacts. Don't want that. Um, just maybe a little bit higher. Although we have Visions of Phyrexia. Stuff like that to make tokens. And we have the Clue Lands that turns into ramp and possible draw. Maybe it's still correct. Hmm. Yeah, maybe it's still good. Yeah, Oblivion Stone, Bladegriff Prototype. These are our main things. 3 mana. It helps cast some of our big stuff. I think I'm gonna say no. As as much as I am thinking about it, I think ultimately I'm probably just gonna say no. And that's okay. Frontier Siege. I have this in this list because it says at the beginning of each of your main phases, add 2 mana, not just your first one. So this makes 4 mana, per turn. Very good. Whenever a creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library face down. And then you can basically swap hands with it, sort of. Not for this deck. Mechanized production? We don't make that many artifacts. Yeah, that's not worth. Vicious Shadows. Very, very good closer. Um, this paired with like a board wipe goes insane. Um, yeah, it's a very good card. Mind Stimulation. If I update to cheapest, it's still $6. How much? 22.12. Um, very good. Also kind of splashy though. Yeah, and if it hits a land, then it doesn't really do much. But very, very good card, very funny card. I might be able to work it into the budget. Maybe not. Like maybe I don't want to. uh, like I think it might not be. It might just draw too much attention and not give the play patterns that we want. We probably want more win cons, right? More ways to just actually close the game. Because it's cool that we can do Cascade and we can uh draw a bunch of cards and all that, right? But how do we actually close? Um, I mean, Maelstrom Wander is great because it gives everything haste. Emoti is just amazing for letting us be able to, like, vomit our deck onto the field. Let's see. Yeah, we want more closers. Glorious End is just an incredibly funny card. Um, it can only be used with the commander, though. You don't have to cast off of Cascade. Yeah, um, yeah, that's fine. Let's see what other things we have for gives castable from non-hand. There's Gale. Gale's cool. Although, realistically, we're not going to be able to cast the other thing. Hmm. Finale of Promise is good. Cast up to one target instant and or up to one target sorcery card. Each with mana value X or less, without paying the mana costs. If a spell cast this way would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. If X is 10 or more, copy each of those spells twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. Realistically, I don't know how likely we are to get that much mana to cast it that big. It's interesting, but it is an X spell, so it's bad to cascade into, so I think probably no for that reason. Slinkali Hunter. I can pay 0 if I'm casting something from exile. Neat. Good. Maybe not what I'm looking for though. What if I look for visual bug? Okay, cool. What if I look for like retrace and flashback and stuff like that? Cascade, rebound. Hmm. I could look at the other Cascade cards. Actually, Sakashima's Protege seems sick. Because it can also clone something. Um, what would we want to clone though, realistically? Uh, Ethereum Horn Sorcerer is kind of funny, but probably not that good, just because we have the original to bounce. There's Dire Fleets. There's Diluvian Primordial, Torrential Gear Hulk, that kind of thing. We could copy Primeval Protector. There's not that many things to copy. Ooh, actually, Bladegriff Prototype is a sick copy target. Um, I mean, it says Cascade, right? How much card advantage do I have? 12? Yeah, that's probably fine. I feel like all of the Cascade is card advantage enough to just like boards, like build a board state out of a can. That, oh, it also says that enter the battlefield this turn. Oh, but it is flash. Actually, this is sick. Yeah, I'm gonna throw that in here. Sakashima's protege. Um, that's Cascade. Yeah. Joyra of the Gitu is interesting with everything. Eruth. Eruth isn't bad. Flub Staple. Svella, you can roll and then cast something, and then Svella's actually kind of sick. I think I like that. Because then you can just keep rolling. Pay 8 mana, look at the top 4, cast something for free, trigger the 12th Doctor. Yeah, let's throw in a Svella. Um, cool. Gives castable from non-hand. Okay. I do still need win cons. How do we close? Avenger of Zendikar, maybe. Just make a bunch of dudes. Um, I feel like that's not exponential enough. Like I feel like it makes a lot, but this does kind of feel like a 2016 win con that doesn't actually close in this stack the way we want it to. Mostly just because we're not doing landfall stuff. Um, Blatant Thievery, like, maybe. I feel like other people are just gonna go like more exponential than us. Um, maybe. We can do Bloodbraid Challenger, but this has the same pitfall of the, what was it, Throes of Chaos or something? It does have Cascade, but the escape cost is gonna eat up our trigger, and then we just have a 4/3 with haste, which is not worth, in my opinion. Melik, maybe? Melik is kinda good. Ooh. Knowledge pool is funny, but I think our CMC is too high for this. Um, yeah, I think I'll go with Melik maybe, and then we just play stuff off the top and copy it. No, no, I don't like that, cause that's a 6 mana do nothing. You have to untap with it. Not everyone gets to untap with big stuff, and I feel like in this deck especially, we're realistically not going to. Like there's a time and a place for like a setup turn for something like a Melik, but I don't think this is the deck that can get away with that. Or if it does, then it's just kind of like that's a wrap. Spell Twine. Hmm. I think now might be a good time to look at the EDH rec recommendations. Yeah, let's see what they have in mind. Ooh, I can also, let me do this first. I will copy this. I'll use recommender. Let's see what they have in mind. Did it work? Okay. Twelfth Doctor Susan Foreman. Maybe if I copy, I might just bulk edit and then copy this way. Let's see if this works. I've not used this way. Morog, extra combats. Interesting. Permanent card, you may put that card onto the battlefield and put all cards revealed this way. On the bottom in a random order. No. Yeah, that's not particularly appealing. I could do Incinerator of the Guilty. Isn't Sapandra like $10? I guess it doesn't know that this is a budget deck. That's kind of fair. Yeah, Zapendral's $10. Yeah, was cool to look at, but not partner Susan Foreman. Not great for budget building. IMO. Draw cards equal to the number of colors among permanents you control. Okay. X is the number of colors. You may play an additional land. Yeah, this is the, like, 2 mana into 4 mana shenanigans. Actually, Natural Reclamation is probably good. I think I did look over that. I'll throw it in. Throw this in. I'll do removal and cascade. Okay. High synergy, top cards, yeah. Yeah, it seems cascade is a pretty common theme for this. Screamer Killer, I did look at that earlier. Actually, this might be the closing that we needed. Let's do it. Screamer Killer. I'll throw that under WinCon and removal. Oh yeah, isn't Sarkon's Unsealing with power 7 or greater, deals 4 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. I guess how many things do we have that's greater than or equal to 7 power? Only 5? Hmm. I mean, I guess this is another reason for Galton Primeval Protectors. They trigger stuff like Screamer Killer and Sarkon's Unsealing. That's good. Like, I love these removal engines, right? But I just, I don't know about them this time. Like in this deck specifically. Um, I mean, Tyrant's Familiar is probably good because you have 2 commanders. So this is just almost guaranteed to get +2/+2 and the relevant text. Um, we have Angry Jellybean possibly. Maybe I'd take the Lieutenant stuff like Thunderfoot. Actually, Thunderfoot's probably really good with all of this stuff because, for instance, play pattern Maelstrom Wanderer into Thunderfoot and something else. Now we're giving everything haste +2/+2 and trample. And I think that's probably pretty good. Might be good enough to consider as a win con. The +2/+2 and trample to everything. Paired with, we also just have a bunch of removal. We have a lot of removal. Um, which I think is really good to cascade into. Um, yeah. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. And that's power is equal to the number of lands you control. Thorn Mammoth. Another big thing. Um, Now, notably, this does do the removal thing when it enters, so I'm a little bit more likely to do something with that. Arixmethes is great because it just turns into a 12/12, and it ramps and all of that. I'm gonna throw in Thunderfoot Baloth. I think it's incredibly relevant for letting us get through and try to win. Um, yeah, I think it's gonna help a lot once we've spat everything out. Soul of New Phyrexia is interesting. That's that's protection. Um, Kind of crazy protection, but it's so much mana. Um, hmm. Just combat damage to a player, you may draw that many cards. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player. That's that's sick. That's only $1? What the heck? That's giga draw. Um, yeah, because you can warp this in and then swing at people. Sure. Starwinder, I'll throw this in card advantage. Um, they just have so many of like the generically good removal engines in here. Um, Probably because they're doing the 2 mana into 4 mana ramp thing and then they just play a big removal engine on turn 4. Haha, deal with this. Which, like, it's not a bad idea. It's just not particularly what I want to do here. I like having some removal engines, but I also like the idea of just going into normal good removal. And then doing other stuff. What do we have? Disorienting choice can be yet again more removal, but I don't think we're after that anymore. I think I'm good to stop looking at that. Let's just look at creatures. Oh wait, I can just do this. Type creature sort EDA track USD 1.5. Looking for just lots of power. Avenger of Zendikar is lots of power. Is it? Is it worth it? I don't think so, is the thing. Like, Avenger of Zendikar, very good card, but I just I don't think our lands are set up to make it that good, especially since we're not doing the big landfall thing. I think we're not. Oh, Forgotten Ancient. A very apt name, admittedly. Yeah, let's do that. That card's sick here. Um, it's Labman. Labman's not particularly great. Tireless Tracker is a really good draw, incidentally. Also clues for things like Inspiring Statuary. Hmm. Goreclaw. That's a good 4. CMC. Actually, yeah, let me just look at mana value equals 4. Because then we have more things to do on that in-between turn. Yeah, like Goreclaw's sick because we might even be able to double spell on that turn afterwards, play the commander and something else. And it gives trample. Goreclaw's sick here. What do we want? Alexios. How could I forget? Alexios is amazing. Like, I I love just throwing in Alexios because if it's in the command zone, people see it coming, right? But if you just play this, you can play it on turn 3 because of your commander, or you can just wait for a board wipe to go off, throw this down, all of a sudden everyone's rushing to have to deal with this Alexios because it's doing so much damage, so much work. I would consider this a one card win con. Especially paired with how much removal we have. Yeah. Alexius might just be the perfect card we were looking for here. He was cool, but not what we're after. Exchange your life total with this creature's toughness. Cute. We could do clones, but clone what? Nothing's on the board yet. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Reefworm. Keeps getting bigger, but the the issue with Reefworm is they're all dice triggers, right? Like, also not that good to cascade into. Um, so if someone were to like bounce it or exile it, like, then it just doesn't do the thing anymore. There's with 6 stun counters. When you sack a land, create a tapped 4/4 and untap this creature. Okay, I see. I see. But we're not sacking lands. Okay. I don't know why that took me so long to compute that that's not a card for us and our strategy. I eventually got there. Um, okay. I mean, we could just run like 4 mana counter spells, kind of mid, but it's an option we could choose. Mizzix of the Ismag. Interesting. The boulder is conflicted. Attacks Earthbend X, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. So that would be at least 2. Interesting. Bio Waste Blob. Uh, we'll almost always have a commander out. And we can throw this out on turn 3. And this can just start going kind of crazy. It's kind of slow though. But it is exponential by itself. I think I'm gonna do this. Because, yeah, it's slow, but it does go exponential by itself. Let's see, turn 4, we'll have 2/2/2s. Then turn 5, 4/4/4s, that's 16 power. And then, uh, why can't I math right now? What is it? Turn 6 is, okay. 1/1/1, 2/2/2s, 4/4/4s, and then that's 8/8/8s, so that's 64 power. I think that's worth. Okay. And you only gotta wait like 4 turns or something like that. Yeah, let's... Oh, I can just hit back to top. Okay. We're a little bit over budget, so I gotta finagle around a little bit to win to get us back in budget. I might cut some of the lands that are costing us money. Is these affecting our budget right now? Kinda lame if it does. Okay, I don't think they are. I'll still do this just in case. Yeah, they're not. Okay. The most expensive cards. We've got Trumpeting Carnosaur. Collective Resistance is $1.29. I mean, I could just cut this and then be within budget. Let's start with that. So cut this. I mean, I could literally just add a basic land. Put me up to 45 lands. How many do I have on average per hand? 318? Or yeah, 3.18. I think I'm cool with adding another land. Yeah. Let's see. If we do type land USD less than or equal to 0.17. Sort EDA track. Path of Ancestry is good. That lets us scry. I forget, did we go with the... No, we didn't go with Inspiring Statuary. Okay. How many tap lands is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, I don't think I want to add. Actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna add Path of Ancestry because we can Path of Ancestry turn 1, cast Susan Foreman turn 2, immediately scry, and then this also just gives us our colors. Wait, what does that put us to 2505? Okay, there we go. Just had to update to cheapest. Cool. Let's run through some test hands. We're under $25. I'm just updating to preferred for the art that I like. I would not keep this. Honestly, I would keep this. I've done stuff like this several times. Draw, Path of Ancestry. Next turn, draw. It really doesn't matter. Tap to Susan Foreman. Trigger Scry. Yes, 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 yes. Keep that on top. Draw. Play Mountain. Green, green, blue, red, Bio-Waste Blob. Next turn, this is going to clone itself. Cool. 2/2/2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll play just a forest for now. Actually, we'll play the Arch of Orazca in case like we get wheeled or discarded or something like that. Any funny business. Tap 5. The 12th Doctor. Trigger Path of Ancestry. Scry. Azuri's Predation. I think we bottom it just because we're not going to be casting it very quickly. Next turn, we'll end up making more of these. Goreclaw. Okay. Goreclaw's interesting. I think we probably play Goreclaw, hold up Reality Shift, or we could do a tap land. But I think we probably do Goreclaw, hold up Reality Shift here. Yeah, we'll do Forest. We could do Arch of Orazca. I don't think that's as good though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Goreclaw. Not using the Path of Ancestry because we don't have a bear. And then probably fire off a Reality Shift on something. Doesn't really, like, we're just goldfishing here, so we don't know what. If we're sussing out that a board wipe might be coming because of all of the Bio-Waste blobs, definitely don't play Goreclaw. Maybe don't even play 12th Doctor if you think this is coming. Just play lands, let this be a threat, let people board wipe and then rebuild afterwards. Just sandbag. Bio-waste blob puts in work here. This is gonna copy. We've got eight, uh, eight eight eights. So this alone could probably just kill somebody. And then if we do land, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. So we tap 7 mana. Ingenuity engine. Cascade. No. That's. Huh. Maybe? Do we do that? See, this is a bad cascade. We don't have very many of them, but this is one of those. I I think maybe just because we're not going to be making artifacts. So, but if we demonstrate this, then an opponent, like they're just going to be able to copy our thing and then discover. I don't really like that. Although, actually, what we can do is counter our copy or counter the original. But then what are they going to target with theirs? Right? They're going to have to target either one of our Hurl into Histories or an Ingenuity engine. And either way, that's not good for us. So, this is rough. Okay. I think I'm going to. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll counter the. Nah. I changed my mind. I'm just gonna not cast these and put them all on bottom. How do I do this? Move to no. Move to bottom. Move to bottom. And then I guess I just have this now. Probably one of the worst hits we could have gotten. That's okay though. I feel like at this point, considering the bio-waste blobs, it's kind of hard to tell where we would be at. If we run another turn, I'd honestly probably just start activating the Arch of Orazca to draw cards. I don't know if these are getting removed. If these are removed, then we're not the threat. And we can just patiently rebuild with Arch of Orazca and Kitchen drawing us cards. If these are not removed, then literally this is just our game plan. And especially with Goreclaw, like they're all getting trample. Um, which is kind of sick. So I think that's fine for this playtest or for this goldfish. I think it did well with the bio-waste blobs and the Goreclaw. Yeah, let's try another. No. Maybe. I I love hands with lots of lands. This might be too many though. Let's try a different one. Down to 6, maybe? Sure, I'll keep this. Down to 6, all bottom 1 with the multiverse. Draw. Path of Ancestry. Draw. Uh, we'll do Island. Step 2. Susan Foreman. Scry. Honestly, I think I'm gonna bottom that. I think I'm looking for another land. Next turn. Draw. I have between Forgotten Ancient and Alexios here. I think it's probably Alexios. Um, this is a point in which it's a heavy meta call. Because if you think that Alexios will survive, you for sure do Alexios. If you think that your playgroup is probably going to try and punish you more, you go with Forgotten Ancient. And you just play more passively. Um, Lily is also really funny with Cascade. Um, oh, that's also funny that this is named Cascade Bluffs. But Alexios probably would be what I would throw out. Um, it's also much more forgiving to throw it out early on. Um, whereas, I guess Forgotten Ancient is more forgiving to where you can play it later and it still does a lot. Whereas Alexios, if everyone has a blocker for it, it's kind of rough. But early on, like on turn 3 like this, dude, Alexios is crazy. Um, yeah, Cascade Bluffs, and then honestly, I'm between just holding up removal, playing Forgotten Ancient, playing the Commander. Realistically, like this is just like a good spot to be in. You can also just Rush of Knowledge and draw 4 cards if you want. I'm happy with this. This is a good place to be in on turn 4. Let's try another one. No green mana here. Yeah, let's try something different. Only 2 mana here. Let's go down to 6. I'm cool with this. Yeah. And we'll bottom let's bottom a mountain. Cause if I'm not mistaken, I think we run more blue cards, like in our removal suite. Draw. Uh mountain. Draw. Forest. Susan. Draw. Um Island. We'll throw out Sarkhan's Unsealing. Draw. Play Forest probably. Not bad. We could throw up Bladegriff Prototype. If we do the 12th Doctor though, it will trigger Sarkhan's Unsealing, and we'll get to deal 4 damage. We can kind of pick when we do that. Um, I do think I'd probably throw out the Bladegriff Prototype here. Uh, I feel like this is a little bit more solid, and then I play this next turn. I get a pop with the Sarkhan's Unsealing, I get a pop with the Bladegriff Prototype, and then this also leaves this not stranded on the battlefield doing nothing next turn, which means that I can play this and then I can just play my Annoyed Altasaur next turn. Yeah. Make a deal, swing this somewhere, blow up something. Um, play the 12th Doctor, pop something with Sarkhan's Unsealing. This is a good amount of removal for how early on we are. Next turn, hit something again, because we can. Mountain, tap, everything, and play Annoyed Altasaur. Trigger Sarkhan's Unsealing and the Cascade. We'll go ahead and Cascade first, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Nope. So many lands. Glorious End. Um, Sick. We can literally just kill someone right now on turn 6. On top of, we've got a reasonable board state. We have Mystic Confluence in hand. We'd honestly probably pop this to just draw 3. Because we have removal here, and this also just popped something. So I'm cool with that. Okay. I don't like this. No red mana, nothing to do on turn 3. I mean, aside from just holding up removal, not enough mana, just awkward all around. I don't like this. The colors are whack. Ooh, this would be really good if I had green mana. I think I'm gonna tweak the mana base actually. 'Cause this is telling me that we're not getting our colors enough. Um, which is fine. We can switch that about. So, okay, let's actually use this tool here. So we need. I feel like we don't need blue mana as much. We need green more because we need to be able to cast Susan Foreman early. Let's just try and go for more Omni lands like Aether Hub. Let me just do type land. USD less than $1. Sort EDA track. Let's see what we can get. Oh, command tower. Oh, yeah, that was an oopsie that I forgot that. Exotic Orchard probably taps for our colors, but there's no telling when. I think we still probably run that though. Um, we could do these. Shivan Reef. Yeah, we could do the Painlands. Um, we could do Shivan Reef. I don't know. Okay, yeah, Yavimaya Coast. Enters tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. No, I don't like that. I want them to enter untapped. Um, I feel like any more tap lands and things start to get really awkward for like turn 2, 3, um, etc. Um, I don't really want to be running more right now. I'm fine with playing a tap land on turn 1, but not really afterwards. Um, enters choose a creature type. Spend it only for that creature type, or to activate an ability of that creature type. Yep, probably not, maybe? Hmm. This probably should be fine. And and then we can just tweak the budget a little bit to make sure that we're within range. Um, yeah. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we just added 6 more uh lands for colors. That should be plenty. I can remove 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Probably do something like that. Where are we at percentage wise? 44%, that matches. This is over a little bit. This is over quite a lot of bit. I'm okay with this being over. Green is in need earlier than the other colors. So we're now like $2 over. Might just cut Trumpeting Carnosaur because it's $1.50. Um, and then maybe one with the multiverse or something. Um, let's see. So we cut this, and then we're still 37 cents. Might cut Simic Charm. We have 18 removal. We could go down to 17 here. How often are we casting one with the multiverse, though? I think reasonably. Yeah, well, we're probably reasonably casting it. Maybe on turn like 7-ish. Um, yeah, we're probably casting this on turn 7. And then we start casting things for free, and this lets us cast from the top, which kind of fixes our card advantage issue. I'm okay with this. Um, Lelia, Lelia gets really big and applies pressure early on, but there's never really a good turn to cast her, right? Um, because, I mean, I guess you could cast her on turn 3. That is an option. And then she just starts getting really big. Maybe. Maybe we keep Lelia. Simic Charm, 2 mana. It's 2 pipped mana. It's not that important, but it is worth noting that it is 2 pipped mana. Might cut this. I could just cut the tap lands. I think I'll do that. I'll cut Spine Rocknol, add a basic mountain. Maybe not. I think 44 is probably fine. And then let's find 2 cards. If I just do sort EDH rec and then like less than 25 cents, what pops up? Kind of curious. Lands, naturally. I mean, a braid is fine. Hits artifacts and it hits small creatures. Actually, I think I should probably find more card advantage. Let's see what we got. Could do dig through time. Especially if we give it Cascade. Can be really good. The Delve though. We're not really throwing things in the graveyard, so that's not amazing. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let me USD less than 25 cents. Must match all criteria. We're not doing token stuff. Do we even run wizards? Let's see. We have a wizard. Um, Ethereum Horn Sorcerer. That's not worth. Okay. It's worth at least looking at, but not what we want. Beginning of your end step, you can manifest the top card of your library. Exile a face down permanent you control. Face up, you may play that card this turn. Oh wait, that can help with our gives castable from non-hand. Beginning of your end step, you may manifest. Yeah, yeah, that works. Primordial Mist. Although it is 5 mana. That's not that good. Because it's 5 mana. Cold-Eyed Selkie. Kinda really good. Draw an extra card. Return. I might even play that on turn 3. Uh, Depending on what I have. Yeah, let me see. Cold-Eyed Selkie. And this also goes bonkers with Forgotten Ancient. Card advantage. Cool. Deep analysis, flashback, to pay 3 life. This would trigger the commander, but does that matter? Like, is it good enough? Probably not. Because you'd still have to cast it first. 4 mana, draw 2 cards is kind of mid, and then you have to also do that again at some point. I don't think that's worth. Okay. I am out of budget. I have 24.95. I mean, I could just add a basic, go up to 45 lands. What's my thing again? 3.18. Hmm. Let's see. If I just do this a few times. I want hands with at least 4 lands in them. I try not to keep anything under that whenever I play casual, and it works really well for me. I think this is fine where we're at. I like I think that's probably fine. Although if I do add one more land, it does let me mulligan a little bit better. Okay. I think I talked myself into it. I'll add I'll add an island. Yeah. Add one. Okay. Let's play test. 2 lands, let's mulligan that. 2 lands, how about down to 6? 4 lands, no green. Yikes. Down to 5? 1, 2, 3, or 4. I mean, I'm not going below this. Sure, we'll keep 4. I don't have red mana. I think I'll keep this. Bottom these. Let's see what we get. Draw. Moss Warp Bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ingenuity Engine under. Move to bottom. Draw. I mean, I like seeing that. We'll do Island, Susan, draw. Mountain, twiddle my thumbs, I guess. I have nothing. Turn 4. You have play the 12th Doctor, maybe? Yeah, you play the 12th Doctor here. Then you probably just hold up Hurl into History. That or Rush of Knowledge to just draw 5 cards. I feel like we're probably fine here because we have Rush of Knowledge and Hurl into History. Um, yeah. Yeah. I'm okay with that. So, whenever you cast that spell, you may copy it. Yeah. We'll probably just do that. Draw 5. 4, 5. And then discard down to hand size. I have 4 lands. I'll discard a land. Probably mountain here. And then I'll discard forced. Okay. Next turn. Tellurian Contempt is amazing. Yeah, I think we clawed ourselves back into this game. It's turn 6. We have Tellurian Contempt to stop people doing stuff. We could hurl into history to trigger the 12th Doctor. I'm kind of curious. If we counter something, we'll say it's probably a 4-drop. Let's see what we get. Simic Charm. And then we demonstrate it. We bounce something. Our opponent bounces something. We also bounce something. So that's 3 different things getting bounced. Like that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And this was a really bad mulligan too. Like, um, I'm cool with keeping this. Um, draw, kitchen, draw. I'm good with keeping this because wait. Oh, that doesn't work. Never mind. um, it's still fine. It's got plenty of lands. It's got things to do later. Susan Foreman, next turn. Uh, okay. Mountain, Visions of Phyrexia. That's amazing. Next turn, exile the top. Alexios. That's awesome. Honestly, might play Alexios and Library here, or get a Power Stone. Play the 12th Doctor. Either or is good. Um, I'm happy with this. I like the density of 4-drops, and I I think I'm much happier with the play pattern of actually playing a 4-drop than just trying to mulligan for explosive vegetation, do that. It feels kind of bland, in my opinion. I will say this deck can be built significantly different. If anyone would like to build it different, you are definitely more than welcome to do so. Um, I made certain decisions just because I've already done it. Like 3 years ago, I made an Atali deck which played Atali turn forward. It did the 2 mana into 4 mana thing. And I have several decks that do that already. Um, and I also just feel that this deck can do something different than that, even though it has the 2 mana ramp in the command zone. Um, it can do something different than that, and I think I like that. I think I much prefer throwing out Bio Waste Blob or Alexios on turn 3 rather than just more ramp and going like extremely mid range. Like I think just throwing out damage is kind of good to do early on. I I like this deck. It's within budget. Um, it's got some cool cards like Factor Fiction. Um, it's got Cold Eyed Selkie, stuff like that for more draw. Um, you're probably going to be leaning on the lands for draw if someone board wipes. Um, you're probably going to be spending a turn or two just dumping all of your excess mana into just drawing more cards, and that's kind of okay. Realistically, all you need to do is you need to find like a win con or like some way to uh put yourself in a state to where you can close the game, and then from there you can kind of just sandbag your like cascade stuff, because your cascade stuff kind of is like removal in a can, or um like just like game plan in a can. Um and so you're kind of fine just sandbagging those, holding them back, because if people board wipe you, then you're not gonna have anything left to do. Which is why I'm kind of okay with the lands that tap that you pay a bunch of mana into to draw cards. You draw cards instead of just dumping your hand out, and like yes, you probably could play Cascade Dude into Cascade Dude and dump your whole hand out, but whenever someone inevitably, maybe not inevitably, but if someone board wipes, all of a sudden, like, you're cooked. You're just sitting there waiting for stuff to happen that's not going to be from you. you have ways to claw back in. I mean, these lanes are just really good for making sure that you have a grind in your game, like a grind game plan. Um, but yeah, this deck is perfectly fine sandbagging. Um, after you have found a way to close the game. And in the meantime, you can tempo like crazy because you can cascade into a removal spell, and then you can politic that to let someone else copy it, as long as they don't target your stuff. And then you guys effectively get to remove 3 things with 1 card. Which is, it's so strong that you're basically getting to triple your removal spells. I think that's very good. Um, oh yeah, another reason why I don't like the removal engines in EDH is because if you cascade into them, you don't really want to demonstrate that. Because if you demonstrate Inferno Titan, all of a sudden your opponent also has an Inferno Titan. Sure, you have 2 of them, but and you could kill theirs, but it's still not super great. I'd rather my opponents just not get an Inferno Titan than me having to worry about that. Like I'd much rather just go into reality shift and then we all just exile stuff, or we go into wrong turn. Honestly, wrong turn is going to be such a fun card to play with. I almost kind of want to play this deck myself just to do funny things with like wrong turn, Alexios, Bio Waste Blob, Forgotten Ancient, like Screamer Killer, like these are just really fun cards. Glorious End is a really funny tech that I didn't even think about. I'm really glad that the person that commissioned this deck for me had included that as a pet card, because once I thought it through, that's actually such a good tech. Um, that you can basically have theirs resolve, exiling the whole stack so yours don't resolve, they lose the game. It's awesome. I love this play pattern. Um yeah, I might actually just play this deck myself. This seems kinda sick. I'm not really familiar with the Doctor Who series, so I don't have any like emotional attachment or like sentimental value to like these guys or what's going on or anything like that. But I do just think that the deck overall is just has really interesting play patterns. And I do think that the tempo advantage and the politics with the demonstrate can lead to really fun games for casual. I also just love decks that run lots of lands, card advantage, removal, etc. I think removal is awesome. I think it's heavily slept on um by most people. Um but you probably already knew that if you watch like any of my videos. But that's perfectly fine if you don't as well. If you're new, welcome. Uh cool. So we're going to look real fast. I'm pretty happy with this overall. So yeah, that's about it. $25. Looks like we're 5 cents under that. Uh, 12th Doctor, Susan Foreman. Um, yeah, real quick. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Um, and if you think that someone you know may benefit from watching my videos, please share it with them so we can all become better deck builders together. This has been Toggos Rock, and I am out.